Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, hopefully of appropriate age. That would be good. My name is Victor von Assenbutt, and with me is my co-host, the only nation ever to surrender to the Swiss. What's up?
That's a little hurtful. We did not surrender. We got beat.
I heard that you got neutralized.
We may have been neutralized. I mean, they did produce Claudio Castagnoli.
I mean, that's true. He is kind of offensive at times.
He's a little neutralizing.
Indeed. We got some general wobbly knee news, but I think we should start out with the RIP for the Big Van Vader, Leon White, a.k.a. the Baby Bull, a.k.a. I think he's got like 4 or 5 different nicknames.
Most of us will know him as Big Van Vader, of course.
The man they call Vader, because it's Vader time. It was Vader time before it was Rusev Day, motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidentally, it's always Vader time on Rusev Day.
An absolute legend in WCW and Japan. Pretty much has to be considered a legend in WWF, even if his run was underwhelming.
Yeah, apparently Shawn Michaels basically Pearl Harbored his career because Shawn didn't want to wrestle him, and that was it.
It was because he roughed him up in their first match.
Fucking rough him up back.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Shawn Michaels.
Come on, pretty boy.
Can pretty boy Shawn Michaels, boy toy, really feel like I'm cutting a Bret Hart promo now.
Could be. I mean, I guess he's no. Let's put it this way: Vader is no Marty Jannetty.
That's true.
That ain't, listen, stick up for yourself. He'll respect you, and then you can go on with your career. But no! Anyway, Vader was like the first truly terrifying heel I ever came across. Because I was watching, as previously stated, I watched a lot more WCW back in the day than WWF, because it was just on the channels that we had. And Cactus Jack was like terrifying because he's crazy. Well, he wasn't terrifying, but he was crazy and psychotic, and you had no idea what the fuck he was. He's tearing his own hair out. I don't know if that was legit or not, but the guy would reach up onto his head and parts of his hair would come off. So I had to, at the time, believe that was real. And then he got into a feud with Vader, and Vader was terrifying. It's like watching, there's a bully at school, and then this other bully moves in and goes, this is mine now. It was horrendous. And then they did this prolonged angle where he had powerbombed Cactus Jack on the outside, pulled the mats away and everything. Like, they made a big deal about this. And so Cactus Jack I think he was hurt. They wrote him off TV. So they did like a prolonged, like months and months of this intrepid reporter. This is before they had interview bots. They actually had to pay professionals to do this job. And so they had, I can't remember, it wasn't Missy Hyatt, but it was somebody else that they had on payroll. And so they would go from place to place. It's like, oh, we've heard that Cactus Jack has been staying at this asylum. So they'd go and like, he's not there, but it's somebody claiming that they are Cactus Jack. Like crazy shit. And eventually there was a big payoff at the end of it. It was great. It was how you do feuds. So that was kind of my first introduction. And he had this giant mask with like shoulder. It was like a whole upper body piece. And it spewed steam. And he would hold dudes in the corner and then just like summon the power of whatever and make it spew steam into the guy's face. As if he wasn't terrifying enough. He's going to use weapons against you too. Fuck.
I do remember the Vader. My first experience with Vader was kind of a weird one. It was during a part where he's part of Camp Cornette with British Bulldog and Owen Hart, of all people.
That's random.
And they were feuding with the 3-man team of Psycho, Sid, Ahmed Johnson, and Shawn Michaels.
Woo, Shawn!
So that, there were some fun matches, and Vader was definitely the attraction of that. They would roll out the Camp Cornette guys against 3 jobbers and just have like some big meaty jobber go up against Vader and he would just crush them. Yep. And that's how that would work. And he will be missed. This is not a shock, of course, because he was given 2 years to live back in 2016. But he did not quite make the 2-year mark. That was 18 months ago.
Yeah, well, apparently he refused to stop wrestling, so.
Yep. That was the whole big deal where DDP was offering to get him into shape to try to prolong his life and everything, which earned DDP a lot of goodwill.
He kind of just does that. That's DDP for you.
Mm-hmm. So just ask Jake Roberts and, of course, Scott Hall.
Indeed, Chico. So, other wobbly B news, because there really isn't much going on the indies that we don't, can't really define. Like, All-In's happening. They keep announcing a few people here and there for All-In. Not Flip Gordon yet. So we had Dean Ambrose has been spotted at the training center, and so there's speculation that maybe he's coming back early, or then again, it might just be a checkup. Paige got pie-faced. Somebody, they were pulling away from a particular show, and she was waving and greeting fans out the window of her car, and some asshole reached in through her car window and pushed her face back and yelled at her to stop being such a fat ass and stuff.
Yeah, because fat is the word I think of when I think of Paige.
Yeah, well, there's a few photos that aren't too flattering, but what are you going to do? But yeah, that's not it. To put it mildly, that's not cool. And to put a finer point on it, shut the fuck up, you fucking retard. Yep. Pretty much is how, keep your hands to yourself, or somebody's probably going to get handsy with you. And not in the good way like you want.
Mm-hmm. It may be Paige, but it's not the way you want it to be.
Yeah. It's going to be like Paige, the 300-pound dude from Ireland.
I think we mentioned last week, but Big Cass got fired.
Yeah, there's more news on the Big Cass release. Basically, most of this stems back to his initial going against Vince, not only just the producers, but then going over the producers' heads to go to Vince, and then Vince saying no to a prolonged beatdown on the midget, and then he did it anyway. So the producers told him no, he went over their heads to Vince, Vince told him no, so he did it anyway, so they're not really happy with him. Apparently he was drinking a lot on the European tour, and he has apparently a totally different disposition when he's drunk, and he's they're just using the term very difficult to deal with. I have written down here, was a drunk casshole on the Europe tour. There was an incident where he was in the bus bathroom, the lock was broken, so he thought he was trapped and being ribbed. Somebody had locked it on him, so he just busted down the door. Apparently half the people totally understood his point of view, and the other half were upset, but the upshot was that some people had to use the bus toilet with no door on. And apparently this last part has come to light this week, where he had a loud, I don't want to say physical altercation, but he had a loud altercation with Carmella publicly backstage, and at one point grabbed her arm. What that means, I don't know.
Of course, they were at one point together, so
they were indeed.
The WWE does not like domestic violence.
They do not. Unlike the UFC, they're fine with it.
I have a whole thing on that later.
So yeah, apparently that was the last straw. The word is that Vince had a quick, I don't know if it was like a regularly scheduled meeting that he was having with people, or if it was a quick meeting they had impromptu, but basically Vince just said, fucking fire him right now. So he's gone. And the thing I don't understand is, well, I kind of understand it, because I know that Enzo thinks that he is the whole fucking show, but he was only half the show. You're only part of the show unless you've got some muscle to back up your mouth, and you don't. So, maybe don't, continue to poke at Big Cass. Maybe you should reform that fucking tag team, and maybe you should become the most wealthy independent wrestlers on the planet, surpassing the Young Bucks. Maybe that might be a good idea. Just maybe.
I mean, it's probably a good idea for them, but I would prefer that not happen, just because... No. I feel like they're both kind of trash cans, and I don't want to see them in any other capacity other than trash can on fire.
Yeah, no, I could totally understand that, and I'm about halfway on that boat myself. But it doesn't. This kind of goes back to my whole bafflement with the WWE most of the time. It's like, I don't understand how you don't understand how not to make money. Like, you clearly could make all the money in the world. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
So, the couple other bits of news. Money in the Bank. The women's match was supposed to be the women's title match was supposed to be the main event of the evening, and Vince changed his mind at the last minute because he's a fucking douchebag who hates women.
Y'all.
And Sami Zayn is now going to be out till probably WrestleMania.
I hate to say that's a good thing, but that's kind of a good thing because they had nothing for him.
Yeah. Well, I think that what was going on is this. I think they knew that he was going to be out because he needed to get shoulder surgery. Turns out he needs both shoulders done, which is why he's going to be out for so long. But I think they knew that he would be out for a time, so they tried to get the rub from him onto Lashley before he could. So that's why they didn't really have many matches, or hardly any matches, or maybe just one match. I don't know.
That's why you book it well, though, which they did not do.
They did not. And so I think that's why they did it kind of the way they did it, which doesn't excuse how badly they did it. But that's, and
it also from a logic standpoint doesn't make a ton of sense because you got Lashley doesn't really need a rub. Like he's a legit badass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as much as we make fun of his MMA career for the most part, you know, he's done pretty well for an MMA heavyweight.
It's got 3 times the wins Brock Lesnar does.
Yeah. Well, even if we go with like Brock being like the highlight of pro wrestling and MMA, you probably have to put Lashley at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really no need to get a rub. Like, what rub are you getting off of Sami Zayn, who's a much smaller man and hasn't really been built as a tremendous badass in the history of, like, hardcore fans know Sami Zayn and respect him, but the casuals, not really.
Filthy casuals.
And those are the ones that you would need to get a rub for Lashley for. So even on just a logical point, without even looking at the bad booking, not really a tremendous make sense point of view.
No, not at all. So they did one rotator cuff because he knew it was he basically was working through an injury. I don't know if he knew how bad it was. So they took a look at his shoulder. Like, you've got a torn rotator cuff. Oh, by the way, you've torn the other one since this one's been torn. So he's got 2 torn rotator cuffs. They did one this week, and in 7 or 8 weeks they're gonna have to do the other one. So he's done like dinner for a while. If you thought Kenta was out, you are in for a surprise.
Very true.
Do I have any other things of note? Not that I can think of.
I have an update from...
There was one other... Sorry, the Madison Square Garden incident issue problem thing. Fiasco was a good word. I like that one. So basically, WWE has blackballed, after ROH and AAA have made deals with Madison Square Garden, apparently one phone call from somebody not Vince basically made MSG renege on all deals. So no, then you're not going to see ROH in the arena. You're not going to see Triple H in the Garden. AAA. That would be funny if Triple H went to AAA. So Sinclair Broadcasting's kind of talking about maybe legal action that might be appropriate at this point, which would be funny because they're a much bigger company than WWE.
Well, I think they would probably be suing Madison Square Garden, though.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, is if you got 2 companies, one of them's kind of honey-dicking you the whole time, and the other one's a big bad voodoo daddy that will cripple you for life, you're probably just going to capitulate. Especially because WWE doesn't do anything with Madison Square Garden. They run like a couple of house shows there a year.
Yeah, because, there's issues with building in terms of the age of the building, also the ability to sell it out, and, of course, the expense of running it there when you have Barclays Center.
Yeah, which I understand is like less than half the price and more capacity. So why wouldn't you?
And a newer facility.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all the news that I have. What do you got?
I've got some news from the world of simulated wrestling. So we had the first proper match of our feud, by the way, and it was at Dominion. Awesome? It was brutal. I'll say that much. You put me through 6 Japanese tables.
That's kind of a lot.
It's a lot. And it ended in a double count out on the 6th one because you went through the table with me. And my greatest offense was basically pulling a Chris Bosch and going after your dick.
Lion cock! Fantastic.
So our feud has become brutal and personal, and it will probably end with one of us dead.
Yeah, that could be a thing. Don't want that to be a thing, but it could be a thing.
The Doug is a madman. That's all I got. So let's move on to the actual action.
Achtung! We have the 205 Alive with your boy Phillips on commentary because we got people out of the country doing commentary on. It was really weird because he's like, yeah, Nigel and Vic Joseph are out of the country doing the European or British tournament. But then later on NXT, they're totally doing commentary on NXT because it's pre-taped.
It's always the weirdness of having the pre-tape.
Weird.
Which we had that, of course, with the Lucha Underground too, going, oh wait, this is pre-tape, right.
Yeah. So we got Phillips, which was good. I like Phillips. It's a shame that they're wasting him on shitty programming, but, eventually they put him back up in the major leagues and let him do 205. So we start off the night. I have Gulak with Kendrick versus Dorado with Gardeners and Penelope. So we had I don't know who did what, but I just have written down bad promo is bad. I think it was the Mexicans did a promo, and it was very bad, especially because it's so obvious that Grand Metalik doesn't speak English.
Yeah, it was not great. The only Mexican in the group, of course, Grand Metalik. Yeah.
The match itself was fine. I don't have a ton to say about it other than there was a super-duper slow lethal injection that my mom could have dodged. Holy fuck.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. Gulak wins. Gulak taps out Dorado, so...
Yeah, now they said that he's tapped out all 3 of them, so is there going to be 6 more weeks of the Kendrick beating all 3, and then your boy Jack has to beat all 3, and then they have nine more weeks of the Mexicans each getting their wins back, and are we going to have to really see this? Is that really what's going on here?
They don't have anything else to do with these guys.
I guess. Let's have a blood feud. Come on, man. Let's have a... if you're gonna play up the whole Mexican angle, have Grand Metalik come out with a bushel of jalapenos and jam them in Gulak's eyeball or something.
Oh my God! They have come out with Day of the Dead masks and machine guns, being proper Mexican.
Welcome to Guadalajara, bitch. We had a Drake Maverick / Hideo Itami promo in which Hideo just kind of walks up and goes, "Hi." And that's it for an uncomfortable amount of seconds. This was just kind of a basic thing where Drake kind of reads him the riot act. It's the same thing that all the authority figures say to all heels at this point, but Spud made it good, so no problems.
There will be no problem as long as you respect me.
Yeah, that's a 2-way street, mate. We had TJP come out with the microphone running down Le Jabier that was in the ring. And I've written down, why do I smell a 1, 2, 3 kid situation you're brewing here? Which did not occur. TJP basically... and then TJP immediately, as soon as I wrote that down, he said something to the effect of oh, you're hoping to be the next 1, 2, 3 kid or something like that. He didn't say it like that, but he did intimate it. TJP sucker punched him, and then got the win pretty quick. Who was it? Was it Percy Watson on fucking commentary with him?
Yeah, Percy.
Yeah, so Percy says the TJP needs to shut his mouth and do his job. But I have it written down here. I'm and hear me out now. He's doing his job like you want him to do, and he's running his mouth already. So he's doing. Shut up, Percy, you fucking tool.
Yeah, frankly, this is a heel that the commentators cannot argue with. He is being underutilized. Anyone can see this. He is talking smack while beating guys the entire time.
Yep. And doing it very well, too. I must say. I'm not bored with this at all. I could watch him do this for like another 4 or 5 weeks.
My only problem with the storyline is I need a good payoff to this whole thing.
Yeah, well, you know,
and I'm not sure what it is.
It's gonna be Leo Rush.
Yeah, there are better ways.
You're not wrong, but it's gonna be Leo Rush.
Yeah, probably. Except they're already doing promos for Leo Rush. I would actually do the 1-2-3 kid thing, bringing someone in.
Yeah.
And have them get the surprise pin.
Yeah, no, that would be
the jobber in disguise.
I would totally do that, but it's gonna, it has to be Leo Rush. We're gonna have Cedric Alexander come out and go, "Stop! You can't do this anymore." Mar mar mar. That'll get him over.
Alexander's kind of over already.
A little bit. We had the main event of the evening, which was Mustafa Ali, Buddy Murphy, and Hideo Itami in a 3-way dance. And it always fails to register in my brain that 3-way dances are also no DQ.
The thing I'm loving, and I'm using that somewhat sarcastic. I mean, I am actually enjoying it, but it's stupid, is the fact that they continuously refuse to admit this is a number 1 contenders match.
Yeah.
It's freaking hilarious. So
Hideo's going to win because Murphy's had his shot, Ali's had his shot, so Hideo's going to win, right? They gave this match a fair amount of time. They had 20 minutes left on the clock, including, minus the intros and stuff. And one of my first notes here says, "I'm a blow nards, I'm a blow nards, I'm a blow nards." Was it? Oh yeah, and I love how the commentation team, no matter who it is, they're always harping and just shooting their loads all over how shitty Kenta's career is. You never, ever get to see Hideo Itami have a match where they haven't prefaced the match with, "Man, it's just a shame that he's no good at wrestling," or his career in North America
just a shame
sucks.
That his career here in WWE hasn't gone according to plan. It's really been a huge letdown.
Yeah, it's just a shame we can't book somebody who's so goddamn good at the goddamn job, and we can't get it right. It's just a shame.
We failed. We have failed so hard with this guy, and here he is.
Yep. This match, as a general thing, was fine. I would say that it was good, but I would say that this match is, in my opinion, the minimum requirement for a match in a WWE promotion.
I would largely agree with that. Unless you're doing some kind of storyline angle that justifies the match being crap. I guess this is the minimal level of execution and professionalism that we should probably see, particularly from 205 Live main events, because you have a lot of very, very good workers. Just let them do their thing.
Yeah, the problem is that this match they're booking as a main event, and they really believe that this is like this is main event caliber stuff, man. This is top notch. No. This is bottom notch. The problem is that your transmission seems to go into -7, like reverse 7 or some shit, and then when you finally get into first gear, it seems like a goddamn miracle. For instance, this match got some holy shit chants at things that just weren't good. They were basic things. They were not spectacular things. Yeah, I don't like. There were some highlights. We had Poison Rana, which is my my jam.
I had that in my notes. Poison Rana on Murphy from Ali, just for you, Byron. Just for you.
Yeah.
I like the little interception kick that Tommy did on a midair Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, the pump handle suplex into a kick to the spine was fucking spectacular. Buddy Murphy's decided that he is going to be Will Ospreay, and this is like the 3rd match in a row he's done Cheeky Nando's, so that's fun. Mm-hmm.
He also had a nice powerbomb knee combo.
Yeah, and there was started out as a ridiculously softy boy patty cake match, turned into an actual strike thing, with a good payoff because the wrong guy got backhanded. It's like, okay, yeah, that started off really shitty and it turned out good. Nicely done.
There was a Spanish fly from the table to the floor on Murphy by Ali. Very nice.
There was a Buddy Murphy's decided he's Will Ospreay and your boy Kenny Omega because he's doing the V trigger as well as the Cheeky Nando's. There's really just picking moves from the most popular guys that aren't in WWE and doing them semi-adequately.
Yeah.
Ali did a moonsault thing, it kicked in the schnoz, hit the double-decker 450 splash, and then sold the wrong way around. He was all super mad and intense, and then incapacitated himself with pain, and then surged to his feet, even though he was completely incapacitated with pain. You did that. You're supposed to be in pain, unable to function, then get super mad, then surge to your feet. You're not supposed to do it the other way around.
Yeah. Ali does that sometimes. Where I know Mustafa Ali is a good wrestler. I know he knows how things are supposed to go. And for some reason, once or twice a match, it just won't. It just won't, and I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand myself. But he is the pancreas of 205 Live, so we're just going to let it go. In the end, Mr. Hideous Tatami went partial Yano and did the low blow right in the ding-ding and got himself a roll-up win, and it was good. I like the timing. I like the execution. It was a well-done finish. I'm not mad at it at all.
I'm gonna compliment the commentators for a moment here. I usually don't compliment Percy because Percy is terrible.
Yeah.
But after the match, because Tommy had cheated to win, he did not make a stink out of it. The face commentator realizes, hey, it was a no DQ match. That was fair. Thank you.
Yep. You betcha. It was well executed. I did not have a problem at all with this match. It started out a little slow, but that seemed to be, in retrospect, it seemed to be by design rather than just being wrong. But like I said, this should be the minimum. This should be like the first match I see. If I'm tuning into Raw, this caliber of match and execution should be what I see on the curtain jerker. Not the main event. Like the main event on a 3-hour program with if you want to say you got the best wrestlers in the world, which you don't, but if you're going to claim that, have the best matches in the world. Or shut up.
I mean, I believe if you were to rank the top 100 wrestlers in the world, probably about half of them are in WWE.
Yeah, probably.
But you don't let them do their thing.
Yeah. Well, then there's the other question is, if the quality of their performances go down, are they even in the top 100 anymore? Like, are Gallows and Anderson anywhere near the top 100 of tag teams anymore? Not even close.
They're the victims of fucking booking in a great sense.
Yeah, no, and you're totally 100% right about that. But they're not. At one point, they were the greatest tag team in the world, and now they can't be. They're not allowed to be. They're paid not to be. So, which makes no fucking sense. You signed these guys to, I'm assuming, a large contract. Otherwise, they would have not left Japan.
Yeah, the Gallows and Anderson is very, very weird, because I thought, okay, you're bringing them over to kind of resurrect a Bullet Club-esque thing, but you've really never committed even to that.
Yeah.
Anyways, then,
I don't know.
Then it's off to 205, or NXT, which, typical after TakeOver show where we spend most of our time doing nothing but talking up the action from TakeOver.
Yeah, there's a lot of recaps. There's just so many recaps that it's borderline not worth watching this episode. But we started out with Dakota Kai versus Blunky Blur, which I have a little addendum that says, damn it. And my first note of the match says, Blunky Blur always looks like she just cut the nastiest chunky fart as humanly possible. And then she botched a pie face. Like right after that, botched a pie face. Like what
she did botch the pie face. I'm going to speak relatively positive of this match in the same way that I speak positive of Lacey Evans matches. She is getting better.
Yeah.
She is physically competent, and this is kind of what NXT is supposed to do. So, in that regard, I'm perfectly fine with it. You don't need to go see this match, but unless you're like just really interested in her progression, and I think she can be something very good if they keep on this path.
Yeah. I think you're probably not wrong. It's just that there's a lot missing from her game, and I have no idea why they keep putting her on TV. She's on TV more than her husband or fiance or whatever.
Yeah, the Street Profits have not been on TV lately.
Not in months. I can't remember the last time they were actually on. I think actually
when they got beat by
for war legally distinct and therefore copyrightable Raiders.
No, they had one match after that against TM61 when TM61 cheated to get the win.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, so that was like a month ago, maybe more. I think month and a half.
Roughly a month.
Yeah. So yeah, like I didn't have a problem with the match. It wasn't as anywhere near as bad as the rest of the Blunky Blur matches have been. But still, you fucked up a pie face.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was just super. The rest of the match was just really clunky because Dakota Kai was having to slow way down so that she could keep up, and she really couldn't keep up. It's coming together, but it's going to be 4 or 5 years before she's anywhere near Dakota Kai's level. And I don't understand why. Like, they should be running. In my opinion, NXT should be running house shows 3 times a week.
Yeah, I feel like matches like this should probably be off of TV, or at the very least, this would be like a debut match, so that you give like that kind of like that slide. Whereas we've seen a lot of Bianca Belair, she can be good. Her match with Kairi Sane in the Mae Young Classic was very good, but I credit that entirely to Kairi Sane. Probably the best worker on the roster. And yeah, she's not really ready for TV. She shouldn't be ready for TV based on how long she's been in the business. She can be good. Keep it up, but probably keep it off TV a little bit. Like, let her work to the house.
An NXT wrestler only gets to work like 20, 25 matches a year, which is fucking pathetic.
Not enough.
You need to be running house shows 2 or 3 times a week, plus your tapings. Therefore, and guys like Ricochet, guys like Leo. Well, when Leo Rush was there, guys like TM61. You're hiring indie professionals. The indie professionals don't need to do that much. They should definitely be working at least 1 house show a week and plus tapings. But it's not like they need the practice. It's not like Gargano and Ciampa need the practice. But you can make a little extra money doing house shows. B, you get your inexperienced people experience. You can have Gargano work an indie or a house show match against whoever, Cesar Bononi. Have Gargano and Cesar Bononi work a program on house shows for like 3 months. Holy fuck, will you see a goddamn improvement?
Yep.
Make more money. Make more money, you idiots. Pretty much.
I will say 2 nice moves here. Nice pump handle backbreaker by Belair. Keep working that in there. And she went with a torture bomb or torture rack bomb to get the win instead of the alley-oop thing. That's a great improvement.
Yeah, the fuck reverse power bomb. Shut up. Okay, cool. You're gonna boost me in the air. I'm gonna land on my feet, and then I'm gonna teabag the shit out of you. We had a Ricochet promo in which he says "GIF" correctly, so fucking all the points in the world to Ricochet, which I have written down as Rich O'Shea. We had a Velveteen interview promo, which was completely incomprehensible. That guy his writers were not on point that day.
No.
It was like, dream over! Dream over! Did you hear what I said? Dream over! Doesn't mean anything, so... does that mean you're not Velveteen Dream anymore? I guess he's not Velveteen Dream anymore.
That would be interesting.
He's the Dream Over. That's what Dream Over means. No more Dream. So no more Dream. Right?
Perhaps.
I guess. I don't fucking know.
Had a bunch of other recap stuff, none of which really
I didn't write down any of that
interesting.
Shit.
We got
they basically recapped. Every time I say there's a promo, they recap the match directly before the promo. So
The only other new things we had was the EC3 promo, which was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
He's like, Takeover was great. I was not there. I will not be missing on any other takeovers in the future. I will be building EC3, or I will be building NX3, and I'm gonna go kick Mr. Regal's door in and ask for some top tier competition. Walks off to EC3. Who you could ask for? Everybody.
There was a Shayna Baszler promo with I have written down three donkey. It's the three donkey ladies, and the promo was pretty flat and lame. They
Jessamine Duke looks like a cracked out whore. Oh god,
yeah. These are all like
sad.
These are all interview spots directly after their matches at Takeover. They try to interview Aleister Black. He's limping. He's demaged and says, "I can't talk right now," and just walks off. That's understandable. The Britt and Bruisers were disappointed, so hopefully they come out ruining people's lives after this. I could use a couple more broken noses just for fun. You already covered the EC3, and then our main event of the evening was War, legally distinct and therefore copyrightable, Raiders versus The Nazis Don't Kneel.
The mighty. Looking very, very Stormtrooper-esque.
Holy Hitler, Batman. They have the SS logo under their name on their black leather trench coats. What the fuck?
The mighty Stormtroopers are here.
What
we have come for your Jews.
Yeah, they're now known as the Mighty, and I can't remember who was it. Nigel, and who was the other commentator?
We had Nigel, Vic Joseph, and Percy.
So Vic definitely said that it has been almighty up to this point, which I laughed. I wrote that down particularly. So the match was dumb and not very good.
I rather enjoyed the match, actually.
I didn't see the fucking point because they just debuted this newly repackaged.
Oh no! Like to be clear, the Mighty should have gone over here. The Mighty should have cheated to get a win, make the gimmick work, continue on their development. You can continue a feud on with the War Raiders because that's really the only other tag team you got going right now.
Yeah, they need somebody to feud with at this point, not just show up and pump their fists in the air. And you just debuted this new super heel version of your tag team, and you buried them.
Like even my notes basically had this like there was a cheat to win spot by the Mighty that did not work, and my notes literally said, because I was so sure the Mighty were going to go over, cheat to win fails for now, and now that looks pointless because they lost to Fallout.
Yeah, no one gets up from Fallout, which they still haven't named because they can't come up with a legally copyrightable version of that name.
Yeah, probably. They said it in their debut actually, and then never again. I'm assuming whichever commentator said it got a slap on the wrist.
There's that reminds me one bit of news that I did not write down. The commentator teams have been basically upon pain of death. No commentary team is ever to reference a wrestler's NXT history ever. For no reason. Which
makes zero sense.
Yeah, for no reason shall you hype up, inform people, or try to drive business towards your own product.
But you are allowed to talk about Impact Wrestling under certain circumstances. ROH, you are allowed to talk about Japan.
They're allowed to put New Japan on their own fucking website, but they can't generate business towards their own product. That would be wrong.
It's so stupid.
Yeah. So, I don't understand. It doesn't. So, yeah,
this ironically would make sense if Vince McMahon's proclamation about the brand split actually came true, where they were competing and not mention, if SmackDown didn't mention Raw and SmackDown and Raw didn't mention SmackDown, and NXT was just kind of caught up in that. There was an actual metric battle between the two shows. There isn't though, so this makes no sense.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't. It makes as little sense as jobbing out your new debuting heel version of TM61, or the Mighty Don't Kneel, or the Mighty, or the Nazi, or the SS, or whatever the fuck you're going to call them. Who cares?
I mean,
So
I would have,
but to put the titles directly on War Machine at this point. There's nothing else for them to do.
Yeah, I would have had War Machine win this feud, to be clear, but I would have had the Mighty win the first match. Dirty win, continues on the feud, works it in. War Machine go over, eventually take the titles off of Undisputed Era. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Well, the way here's the way I fantasy booking warfare come to life. I get like a series of matches. The first match, the Mighty cheat blatantly and win. You know, they put the foot on the ropes, they do whatever, they double team, they grab they double team with the foot on the ropes, and both guys grabbing the trunks, and the ref doesn't see it because Hansen's too fucking fat, so they can't see both guys hiding behind him.
Mind you, they had Drake as the referee here, so that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah. So they're blatant all of the cheating in the first match. The second match, you have them cheat again, and then the ref gets all, cranky and like, rah, 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 you can't do that. So he's totally distracted, and then you have the other Mighty guy crank one of the guys in the back of the head with a sledgehammer or whatever, brutally, and just, so that guy's not there for the next taping because he's injured. And then they just beat the shit out of the second War legally copyrightable Raider. And then after that, you have them have a match against anybody else, doesn't matter. And then after that, they set up another match against any other team, doesn't matter. But then the War legally copyrightable Raiders come down and like go to town. And then they have a match, but the Mighty cheat again, and they win again. And then they're like, listen, we've had enough. They go to Regal, like, this is some fucking bullshit. We're not having this crap. We want a no DQ match at a takeover. No more shenanigans. This is horse shit. And then Regal's like, you got it, pals. And then they have a hell of a match at a takeover. And then after that, they begin the cycle towards the titles.
Yep. Maybe we cut that one loss shorter than you've got it there, but yeah, that's fucking excellent.
Yeah. I would make it in there, and I would rely on the wrestlers to make it very clear that War Raiders would be winning these matches if it wasn't for the horrendous cheatery. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to portray both sides of that and get it to be very clear to the audience.
I've said this a couple of times. What they're doing with NXT's tag team division, I have no fucking clue.
Well, they keep having to rebuild it. That's the problem. And now they've got really top tier. They've got really top tier talent that they can't they can't play the way that they used to play with junior teams like the Brit and Bruisers, Street Profits, the Fuck Boys, Sanity to a smaller degree, where they weren't known entities. They weren't skilled, indie pros. Although, most of the guys from Sanity were skilled indie pros.
And the Brit and Bruisers.
Yeah, but they're still kind of journeyman type people. They're a great tag team. They're great wrestlers. I love both those guys. But you got to admit that if you've got, War Raiders or the Mighty Don't Kneel, and then you've got the Brit and Bruisers, like, which are you putting your fucking money on?
Oh yeah, no, they were a lesser team in prestige.
Yeah.
But what's confusing me now is they're breaking down guys who could be big deals, like Heavy Machinery, buried.
Yep.
The Mighty, buried.
Repeated.
They tried to cheat here, failed, and got beat relatively easily.
Yep. Which would be okay if the commentary team was smart enough to go, you know what, they're this is a new kind of aspect for them. We've not really, they started being kind of, snot-nosed bad boys a couple of weeks ago. Maybe they're just not good at cheating yet. Give me something on that angle. You could probably make a lot of money doing that. That would be fine.
Really, anything they should be doing right now with the tag team division, they are not.
Well, and you know what? NXT should be 2 hours. They had so much talent, for fuck's sake. NXT should be 2 hours. They should keep up their... They should double up...
Hey, Dijak might make it onto TV if it was 2 hours.
Yeah. They should double up their taping schedule, do it twice as frequently as they do the same amount of hours per taping, but then you get to put twice as much on TV, or the network, or whoever wants to carry it. And then you get more people with more matches and more fucking practice. Practice? We talk about practice.
Byron Iverson, everyone.
Indeed. I'm the beige Iverson.
Then we had ROH, which I watched this week.
Wait.
Oh,
First,
okay.
we have Being the Elite.
Okay.
Which you refuse to watch because you hate wrestling.
If I hated wrestling, I wouldn't be here right now.
The Elite. So some of this was a recap of the video game challenge between the Elite, specifically Kenny Omega and Austin Creed, or Austin Aries, or Austin, Texas. So
Save your words.
You really should watch this episode. They do a really great promo backstage before the whole thing, and they got the Elite and Kenny Omega talking this, that, and the other, and then the camera slowly pans to the right, pointing the other way down this hallway, and it's the New Day, and they're like raw and healing it up. That was great stuff. I enjoyed it. They signed they got the Funko Pops coming out, so they have the first editions of the Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, which you can get 2 in a box. So they signed those. Then we had a vignette where Colt Cabana is getting massaged, and you get to just see his face smushed between the round circle thing in the table, and he's getting a massage, and then he rolls over and sort of, he's like, what are you guys doing? And then it turns out it's the young Boston Bucks, or the Boston Manager Bucks, which there's these little characters when Marty Scurll was being a pop star and he got signed to this big $5 million kayfabe contract. And so they each have a hand pointing in from different sides of the camera, from behind the camera, and they're like, Marty, so they, like, the Boston Manager Bucks are haranguing Colt. One of them offers to give him, doesn't say happy ending, but definitely makes that motion. He just kind of pays them and leaves. It's really good. There's a recap, little snippets and vignettes from the actual Street Fighter V match, in which Kenny Omega played as the Cody character the entire time. So, if you're not into wrestling, I can't help you. There was one little bit where I believe it was Kenny Omega said he's going to virtually super kick the New Day back to WWE's mid-card, to which the crowd popped huge. That was good. And then we cut to they pan past this sign. It's like this old broken down building, and they pan past the sign that says Alamo, and then they pan over to some other dudes and it happens to be SCU, and they are not happy because this is the worst town they have ever been to. Fuck the Alamo. Kaz's hero is Ozzy Osbourne because he pissed on the fucking thing. They figured that if this was in Southern California, that they probably would have held out because they actually had something to fight for if it was in Southern California. And then it cuts to Kaz is going to actually piss on the thing, and they fade to black. They had cut to backstage at an ROH venue outside in the parking lot, and Bernard the security bear is there, and Cody's installed this walk-through metal detector. So the Bucks get the Bucks and Paige, and was it Marty? Yeah, they all have to go through the metal detector and patted down by Bernard, the security bear. And then Nick, at the end of it, Paige is totally missing his shoes and can't explain why they're not there. And Nick gets randomly selected for a cavity search. So that's fun.
Randomly selected out of 4 people.
Exactly. And then Cody, basically, they're haranguing Cody. It's like he just wants one shot at Cody's title, or Kenny's title. He just wants one more match, and that's all. And Ian Riccaboni is definitely in the background holding the door open for him. Oh yeah, and then they cut backstage, and if you weren't watching before, Marty revealed that he had his contract had been vetoed or whatever, so he wasn't making any money, and he had to come back to wrestling and start doing the Elite again. And so they on condition that they would totally forgive him for deceiving them if he went to Japan and looked after Flip Gordon during the Best of the Super Juniors, because he's new to Japan. And so that in the last weeks, while they're doing Best of the Super Juniors, you had Marty and Flip take Japan, and it was fantastic. So at the end of the last Marty and Flip Marty and Flip take Japan, Marty basically woke up in the hotel room, and Flip was just fucking missing, just gone. And so he figured that he had accidentally killed Flip somehow. And
he is a villain. It's quite likely.
Indeed. So he confesses. He comes up to the Bucks and he's confessing. He's like, I don't know what happened. I think I might have killed Flip. I think I accidentally might have killed him. And you can see Flip walk into the room behind him and just kind of like creep up behind him. And they, I think they accused Marty of using ricin on Flip. He's like, I didn't use ricin poison. Nah. And then
he was found with ricin in the body and various umbrella stab wounds.
So he's like, I think we could have been friends. I think we were getting to be friends, and I really liked him, and I didn't mean to. And Flip's standing like right behind him the whole time. So they make him. I think they make Marty just yell something nice out to the spirit of Flip Gordon, so that to apologize for killing him. And Flip's like, oh, I didn't know you felt that way. Oh, God. To which Marty is quite flustered. And so he's like, no, man, I told you I had to leave on an early flight that day, and I had to get to, this event in, I think it was Britain. Oh, I'm hiccuping. Hiccuping's bad.
Hiccups are bad.
Lord save me. So, cut to the event in question, to which Brandy wrote. He's been tutoring. This has been going on for a long time on being the Elite. I think 6 months or so. Brandy was trying to become a wrestler. Flip Gordon started showing her some things, some techniques, like how to get up on the middle rope and make it look good, and then do a springboard. And he's been tutoring Brandy in the ways of wrestling for months now. So they are best friends, and she's been trying to get him booked on All In. And during this event, she accidentally got flipped DQ'd, which was... It genuinely looked like she was trying to do the right thing, but you never know, because she's kind of evil.
She is Brandy Rose. She does love Cody, and Cody is a psychopath.
That is correct. And so that was fun. And then we cut to Hangman Page backstage, and this midget wrestler, I can't remember, Short Sleeves or something like that. He's watching the security footage from the hotel where world famous dick wrestler Joey Ryan got killed, and the Japanese police have since arrested Stephen Amell because it's clearly him on the footage looks right into the camera, looks just like Stephen Amell. The problem is that it also looks exactly like Hangman Page, because he's got a hoodie on, he's got sunglasses on, it's black and white, so it literally could be either guy. I think they're really smart on picking up on this, because I didn't notice before. And they showed the footage, and they're like, world famous actor Stephen Amell. I'm like, oh, it does look like him. So Paige basically intimidates the shit out of the midget security guard, and is interrupted by, I believe, the Young Bucks. And the final vignette of being the Elite, we had Nick, basically the Elite, and Nick starts. They're hyped up. He won Kenny won the video game competition. It's awesome. And Nick's like, there's another way we could beat these guys. We're athletic. And Kenny's like, what? What do you mean? What are you talking about? He's like, well, we're pretty athletic dudes. We're pretty good at what we do. And, there's one venue, one way we could get another win over these guys. And Kenny's like, are you saying what I think you're saying? He's like, that's right. We should challenge him to basketball. And as they fade to black match, like, or we could have a wrestling match with them.
We could, but that would be too obvious.
Indeed, which leads us into ROH.
ROH.
Which Meodred refuses to watch.
I watched it this week. I had time, so I actually watched it. We opened up with Chucky T versus Kenny King. And I was a bit mad on this match because I have very high standards for Mr. Chucky T.
Yeah, it was not what I expected, and I lay that right at the feet of the male prostitute, Kenny King.
Male stripper, please.
Listen, trust me. He's a stripper. He's definitely sucked dick for money at some point.
Anyways, Kenny King goes over the Royal Flush. Meh match. Interesting stuff with the hugs.
Yeah, then the double selfie fan spot. The Kenny King was going to pose for a selfie with a fan, and either it was a legit fan who just couldn't get his phone to work quickly, or it was a plant who was, told not to get his phone working quickly, and Kenny King went, like, oh, fuck this, I'm not waiting around for this, and then he got fucking clunked, and then Chuck Taylor came out, and he took the selfie with the fan, so, I mean, good times.
Mm-hmm. We had a Briscoe Brothers promo, which, vaguely unintelligible, like a typical Briscoe Brothers promo, but I loved it. And if anyone knows me, I love all Briscoe promos.
That is correct.
Got a man up, Team MMA, Terry Funk don't wear no mouthpiece.
This is correct. We had Shane Taylor hit the ring with the microphone. I don't remember the majority of the shenanigans he was saying, but I have written down the line, I'm going to pop this guy faster than a Derrick Rose ACL. Woo!
It's a good line. Good line.
Especially because they're in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Then we got a matchup with Josh the Goods Woods. And, Josh Woods has a lot of potential. I just wish they wouldn't refer to him as, like, the MMA All-Star. I'm like, I am a massive fan of MMA. I think anyone will support this. I've never heard of this guy.
Yeah, well, it's just a gimmick.
I know, but it's a bad gimmick. It's a bad gimmick, guys.
I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying it's just a gimmick. It's just a gimmick, bro. Bro, just a gimmick, bro.
This is worse than Ken Shamrock being the world's most dangerous man, bro.
Kitty slam cock. Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to say about this match. We had your boy Dalton Castle come down, plus boys, and they're standing there, and while Dalton Castle does commentary, and your boy Ian Riccaboni did a custom fit on Dalton Castle's headset, which was awesome. And Dalton's like very appreciative. He was like, my goodness.
My goodness, that feels amazing.
Such service. That was that. I mean, you should just watch this. Literally watch this episode just for that interaction. That was fantastic. That's nothing they could ever do in the WWE because they're not allowed to have characters that are good.
Commentators have to be complete Scrooges.
Sploosh. And then we had our main event of the evening, which was Ibu, Buchi, Sanada, Hiromu, Naito. Los Incorporables de Japón.
What does the J stand for? Jabronis.
Correct. There was a Bullet Club promo to open the show, which is essentially, I have written down, LIJ get shit on.
Yep.
We had the Bullet Club, which was Marty, Paige, Cody, and the Bucks. But LIJ had a sixth member, which was Daryl Jr.
Daryl Jr. And the Bullet Club had a countering offer. Bernard the Business Bear.
Correct. My first note is Naito over as fuck.
Yeah, Naito and Time Bomb over as fuck, I will say that. Mm-hmm. They got massive pops. Not so much for Sonata, Evil, and Bushi. Not quite as much. But Time Bomb, Naito, massive pops. Yeah,
I think they're relatively used to seeing Bushi and Sonata. Maybe not Evil as much, but I don't know how much. I'm pretty sure Bushi and Sonata wrestle there. Not infrequently. You know what I'm saying?
That definitely could be it.
I enjoyed the opening part of this. They had, some shenanigans. Who's going to be in the ring? Who's not going to be in the ring? Who's starting the match? Eventually it comes down to Cody versus Naito. They do a little shenanigans. Cody goes for the flex pose, and Naito goes immediately into the open the squinty eye, try and find the muscles pose. It was amazing.
I know there's supposed to be muscles here somewhere.
I cannot see. Oh no. There's a schmozz. Cody gets tossed out of the ring. Naito immediately fucking hits the ropes, does a flip, and tranquilo to a massive house-shattering pop. It was amazing.
At this point, I realized I need Dalton Castle versus Naito in my life.
That is correct. There is, I think, Bushi and Marty hit the ring. Or no, they were not in the ring yet. But there was a competing Bushi, Bushi, Bushi. To which Dalton Castle responds, Trank Kilo. What is that in pounds? There was a giant schmoz, to which your boy Todd Sinclair was not happy. Cody goes for... Everybody basically gets cleared out of the ring except Cody. Cody goes for the Terminator pose a la Kenny Omega. And then gets Daryl Jr. right in the fucking head.
And then everyone has to sell Daryl Jr. for a bit.
There was eventually Sonata gets tagged in, to which Dalton Castle quips, Sonata, 25% shark. And Colt Cabana fires immediately back with, we're gonna need a bigger ring. Jaws reference, OP. Eventually your boy Punishment Martinez does a saunter in, and then he and Paige fucking
No. You missed the clear highlight of this match. The clear highlight.
I already said was the shark line.
Hangman Page did a shooting star press and got easily 2 inches of horizontal movement.
That was pretty impressive, I'm not going to lie. He does have the vertical space, but it's the horizontal movement that's a problem. At one point, I believe it was Bushi hit what I'm calling the Fukushima Destroyer, because it's nice and topical. And then goes to Mist, I believe it was Cody, but then got Bernard the Business Bear right in the eyes with the Mist. The Bucks went and hit the Meltzer driver for the win, or was it
after a super? It was the Meltzer driver, but they went full super kick party for a bit.
Yeah,
there was a pretty good Destino actually. Also,
yeah.
And of course, there was the big moment here was of course that Cody was holding, I believe, Naito for a umbrella shot, and Skrull missed and hit Cody.
That's like the third week in a row where somebody's taken an umbrella, most notably Cody.
Yep. So, I mean, if I'm Cody, I'm starting to wonder, man, is Skrull really with me on this whole thing for the title? Oh.
And that leads us, that will lead us into, well, we got next week's taping, and then the Best in the World is going to be on Friday, which will be the main event of Dalton Casaru, Marty Scotto, and Cody Rhodes.
The Crown Prince of Wrestling, Cody Rhodes.
For reals. You know, it'd be funny if you wanted to go further heel and start stealing Flair's gimmick. Like, I'm clearly Cody Rhodes. I'm clearly, I'm blonded up like my dad and my brother. But I'm going to start going anti-Rhodes. That'd get some heat.
Just start strutting everywhere.
Yeah.
Random struts, mid-match.
Big fucking robes and shit.
Yep.
And then he runs into his nemesis. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who can also out-flare him.
That's true. No one outflares Ric Flair except maybe Jay Lethal Flair.
That would be awesome.
Did I hear someone talk about the Four Horsemen?
Yeah, well. So yeah, that's about where we stand for the wrestling this week, unless you have anything to add.
Sir, we have Lucha Underground.
Well, I mean, I guess, if you must.
We must. I insist that we cover Lucha Underground. I will say that on second viewing of episode 1, I was a little less impressed with it, just because my pedanticness got kind of overboard with some of the lackluster production stuff. That being said, a lot of that fixed in episode 2, so we're headed in the right direction.
Oh my god.
So we opened up episode 2 with King Cuerno's Trophy Room, And Katrina does her teleport thing, which would be a feature of this entire show. It's the Katrina teleport. She's looking for the gauntlet. She thinks she sees it. It's not there. Cuerno says, I gave it to someone for safekeeping. I don't know where in time or where it is, which probably means that it's fucking Aerostar. And he does not care about Katrina's life force. And Katrina leaves. So we open up the actual show, like in the temple, with a 6-man tag match. Trios titles on the line. Mac, Killshot, Son of Havoc. The new champions, of course. Poor Dante Fox, longest reigning Trios champion ever. No title defenses. And they're against Infamous Inc., which we're assuming will be Famous B, Tejano, Dr. Wagner with the Beautiful Brenda. But Famous B comes out with Beautiful Brenda and basically says, Melissa Santos, you are, as always, misinformed. Dr. Wagner Jr. and Tejano are off earning me money in Mexico. So I have brought together a new team of Infamous Incorporated. 3 new clients. He introduces his clients, Big Bad Steve, who was his mechanic on the caddy.
Who I can find no information on whatsoever.
Yeah, I got nothing. He looks familiar to me. I may have seen him at some point, but I got nothing. Sammy Guevara, who's an interesting talent, very interesting acrobatic guy, showed it well in this match. And the big hitter, the Savage Jake Strong, which is Jack fucking Swagger.
That was pretty surprising.
And I love Stryker selling it. This giant man coming to the ring, this Savage has a swagger all of his own. So good work, Matt Stryker. So, we get a pretty paint-by-numbers match, some good stuff, some high spots, relatively short. Famous B, however, fucks his clients over. He's distracting the referee when his team's in trouble, but Swagger manages to put Killshot in an ankle lock. Killshot's tapping out. His ankle's probably busted, storyline-wise, and the referee can't see it because Famous B hasn't gotten off the goddamn apron.
Yep.
So, in the end, Killshot manages to get things going back in round. Havoc pins Big Bad Steve, and the Trios champions retain. Jake Strong is, of course, angry, as he would. He had the win in his debut, which is fucking unheard of in Lucha Underground.
Like, maybe 3 people have ever won in their debut.
Mm-hmm. So he goes nuts. He destroys Big Bad Steve and Sammy Guevara, locks Famous B in an ankle lock, and snaps it. So he is his own man, in theory. Also, Beautiful Brenda, you cannot ignore her if you try. And if you really want to.
I really would like to ignore her audio, but, apparently I can't do that. It's so fucking loud.
Cannot do that. No. So, we have Antonio Cueto come out, and he's basically like, you thought my son was a genius. Not really. But he did have one very good idea. The apple does not fall far from the tree, and I am bringing back the gift of the gods. And he's putting up one Aztec medallion in a Dragon Combat Mortal Warfare Drago with Cobra Moon versus Dragon Azteca Jr.
Spoiler alert, no dragon suplexes were used.
Yeah, I know. Very, very weird. Very weird. We also were joking, of course, that if Drago begins his pinning combination, it will be over by the end of the show.
Also, no dragon screw leg whips.
True, although I have seen Drago use those before, so that is a part of his arsenal.
He's a big arsenal.
So we go into the match. Pretty good stuff, although I will say the going after the mask for heel heat thing, kind of overplayed. I'm going to blame Japan primarily for it, but kind of overplayed.
Yeah, it's. I can't think of the last time I saw. Well, I mean, I guess nobody went over after Bushi's match on ROH, but other than that, I can't remember the last time somebody had a mask on and somebody didn't try and take it off them during a match. It's just not fun to watch anymore. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, if you're not going to reveal their face, not on purpose, not unless it's a botch.
Yep, Azteca did lose his mask here for a bit, but he held it in place to cover his face, and then Drago gave him time to put it back on, so the fuck. We had a lot of dragon puns from Stryker, and a little bit from Vampiro as well. By the way, Vampiro with hair. Confusing.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
In the end, Azteca wins with a pretty neat little move. It was kind of like a reverse sunset bomb type deal. Very interesting. He gets the win, gets the medallion, and Mundo comes out after the match to basically crap on Drago, like, because of course they attacked him last week, or well, not Drago, but Cobra Moon and Vibora, I want to say is the big dude.
Yeah.
And Mundo's like giving them the business, and then Taya comes up from behind, and the booty missile is deployed and destroys Cobra Moon, destroys Drago. So feud continues. Mundo is gone. Go, win Survivor, win it.
I don't know, man. I don't think he's gonna win because he's.
If he wins Survivor, he can come back to Lucha Underground and make that into a gimmick. Like, I have won Survivor. I am a millionaire.
That is very true.
So then we had one of the more interesting segments of the show. Antonio Cueto's in his office, and he's like I like that they're working in the, like, he's like really got the old man down. Like, he's breathing hard, having a hard time breathing. Like, there's all kinds of like little sounds coming from him that happens as you start to break down a little bit. And Katrina teleports into his office and demands a grave consequences match for Mil Muertes and Phoenix. The idea being that if Phoenix gets buried, she will steal his life force and be alive.
Alive!
So Antonio's like, does this mean that next time you are in my office, you will have to knock? Yes. Very well then. You have your match. Then we go to Pentagon Dark defending his title against the Monster Matanza. I have one problem with this match, and it's that the chopping the ring post deal is getting fucking old. I need that to stop for a good month.
Yeah.
Just to let it recuperate. Let it freshen up a little bit.
Yeah, well, to be fair, this was taped way before anybody started doing this on live shows recently.
I think it's been going on long enough that even when this was taped, it was a thing. Although it wouldn't have been as stale as it is now, so I will accept that.
It could be. It's just that I've noticed a significant uptick in ring post chops in the last month, and this was taped. This was taped well over a month ago. I think it would tape them back in February, didn't they?
Could be
something.
But otherwise, this match was really, really good. Good kind of big man versus small man, but also big man versus big man, because Pentagon works as both. That's the beauty of him. He can be the small, agile, fast guy, and he can also be the power guy. Fantastic wrestler, seriously. I would say WWE, go get him, but you would ruin him, so please don't go get him.
Yeah, please do not. They'll paint him like blue, and they'll have him use jump jets to get in the ring, and then they'll change his catchphrases like "ooga booga booga booga" or something like that, and then people will be disgusted.
He'll become Mustafa Ali 2.0.
I was going for more like a Max Moon meets Glacier.
Mm-hmm. But I thought my brain went to Mustafa Ali. It did also make that connection, but he'll have lights all over him, and he'll be totally. He'll actually be Aerostar. That's what they'll turn him into.
They'll have to shut down production for like 30 minutes while they gig up the ring with all kinds of flashing lights, including a landing strip, and then they're gonna have to stop everything again for another half an hour so that they can clear all that shit away so they can have a match again.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the worst return on investment ever. They should totally do that.
Pentagon does hand Matanza his first ever singles loss. Apparently, I thought he had already had one, but apparently not, according to at least the announcers.
Well, I don't know, because didn't his title loss
was Aztec Warfare.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, wasn't it a 3-way dance or something like that? But
it was Aztec Warfare when, of course, of all fucking people, Sexy Star won. Ugh.
Oh yeah, right. That was lame.
Dark days. So apparently this is Matanza's first loss, and of course Pentagon is going for his trophy. He wants that arm because he needs that arm. He needs it. And Antonio comes out, lifts up the key. Matanza easily shrinks off Pentagon, and so Antonio saves his son's arm, but he's like, "You're useless. Dario has spoiled you. You are no good to me anymore." And he goes into his office. Jeremiah Crane comes busting into his office to ask for the third spot in Grave Consequences. Says he won't take very long, and he didn't. Man true to his word. And Antonio's like, you want to get into a match where you could die, So that for a woman, have you looked at her? That's a good point. Done.
3-way to the grave.
Mm-hmm. So Jeremiah Crane's still after Ms. Katrina, and Mills after her. And really, Phoenix has no interest in her. She has interest in Phoenix's life sports, though, and possibly his penis. So there you go. I assume Melissa Santos will get involved to rehash the fact that they are supposed to be an on-screen couple.
With Phoenix? Yeah, I suppose that would be a good idea.
And perhaps Marty the Moth could even get involved here for a 4-way dance.
Good old Marshall the Moth.
So, Lucha Underground looking really good. Probably the best storytelling in all of professional wrestling right now. Admittedly, they also have a little bit of a handicap that they can involve magic stuff, and it doesn't seem hokey because the universe is quite established as that. Mm-hmm. So it's nice. This is probably actually the only way to really keep kayfabe alive, is to basically do this kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would be easier if they just had hired responsible people in any other organization, but that would be fine too.
Well, the problem is that in most organizations, because they don't have exclusivity on their talent, really can't maintain kayfabe, and WWE wants to break kayfabe when it suits them. Well, our fans are dumb enough that it will be not kayfabe when we tell them it's not kayfabe, but it'll be kayfabe when we tell them it's kayfabe.
Yeah, and then we will fire you if we decide that you've done wrong, bad, non-kayfabe on Twitter.
Yep. So that was Lucha Underground. That is our show for the week. And, I don't really have anything else to add to it. Do you have anything else to add?
I do not. I enjoyed... I was not disgusted with really anything except for the repeated abuse of my senses by making me sit through Blunky Blair matches when she clearly needs more work. Other than that, it was all good. And some stuff was very good and very entertaining.
Indeed. So we have ROH pay-per-view coming up. We have a lot of fun coming up. And that's about it. And the G1 is, of course, just around the corner, really.
Oh, yeah.
So, things will be picking up, and we may have to get a second show going if things get really busy. Or you'll just have to sit through a 3-hour podcast, and that's your option.
It's probably a weekly G1 recap.
Anyways,
We will be your host.
We will see you next week.
Get out.